All right, so it's been officially, I think, a week since I moved into the rings planner, and I have a lot to talk about. And I think it's actually, I don't know, I think it's been a week and a half, or something like that. I just know that I'm giving this rings planner a try, and I have a lot of news and a lot to update you, and this mess will make sense in a little bit. So I got this binder, this planner from Amazon because I didn't want to buy a Filofax or anything too expensive without giving this a try, the personal size. So that's what I did. I essentially started with the actual personal size, which is this size here, and I started essentially just printing inserts. By the way, I opened up a little Etsy shop to put my inserts to sale. The digital download is going to be a PDF. It's very cheap. I'm not charging a lot for them. So, but they've been working so well for me that I thought that it would be nice to open an Etsy shop. So it's Scripted Hours, the same name as my YouTube and Instagram. By the way, follow me on Instagram. I am on Instagram as well. And I'm gonna start selling my inserts, and I'll tell you the story of why I ended up opening this Etsy shop, but apologize for the plug, but I'm really excited about it. But okay, so I started with the ring, the personal size, the regular personal size, the most common personal size that everyone knows about. And I bought the pre-punched papers. And I don't recommend buying pre-punched because it's not the same alignment as the hole puncher that I got, the hole punch. So I don't recommend it because it's a little bit misaligned. So, and everything that I can find links for, or if I bought them on Amazon, I'm gonna put the link in the description so you can follow along if you like. But I started with the personal size, and the first thing that I did was to, and I'm gonna get to this dashboard in a little bit. The first thing that I did was to essentially start journaling my day to day, because I think that I mentioned in my previous videos that I was using an A5 sterling ink for this, and I really liked the smaller compact size for my daily journaling, and I wanted to bring this to the rings planner. So I started with the personal size, and I figured it out quickly that the personal size was too small for me. And I mean, it's a really good size, but I thought that I needed something a little bit bigger. And that's when I moved to personal wide. So personal wide, for those who don't know, it's the same height as the personal, but I would say it's two of my fingers. I don't know, is that an inch? I have no idea, but it's just a little bit wider than the regular personal, and this was perfect. This is really, really good. The only issue that I have with it is that, of course, because this is a regular personal binder, it just has a little bit of an overhang, which it doesn't bother me that much, but I don't know, I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, so I thought that I could improve things along the way, but I really, really enjoyed this size. This is what I would say the perfect size for me. The perfect size for daily journaling, the perfect size for monthly, so I printed the monthly inserts for it, and also the weekly inserts, and I will put them up on my Etsy shop. Right now I don't have the personal wide, but I will put them up on my shop as well, because this is such the perfect minimal. Let me get one that is blank here. Yeah, this one. I don't have the other page. I don't know where the other page went, but so I put the weekend stacked, right? Just because it works for me, and the space for each day is not too narrow, but it has the faintest timeline here that you can easily ignore. And I think the grid that I use is almost 4 millimeters. I think it's 3.9 by 4 with a little bit of a variation, but it's just perfect because it's not too small, it's not too large. And I started using the personal wide. So I tried the personal wide for this week and also for the month of September, and I love it. I really like it. This paper is different from the Cuboco. The Cuboco is a little bit thinner and more on the cream side, but I really liked it. So personal wide was fantastic. I really, really enjoyed it, but it's not a size. So I was looking at personal wide planners, right? Because I like this, and I really wanted to find a personal wide planner to work with, to have my personal wide inserts in it. However, I couldn't find, I was looking at personal wide planners on YouTube, and I just didn't like the way that they are a little bit too wide. I know it doesn't make any sense, but because they are wider, but they're the same height as the personal, the actual binder comes out a little bit in a way that it's almost a square. And I thought it was weird. I almost bought a Vanderspec personal wide planner because it was on sale. I saw one that was really pretty and I liked it. Don't get me wrong, I really, really liked it. But I was on a search for something that would be the perfect compromise between almost a personal and almost a personal wide. And that's when I found out something called the Franklin Covey size. And this is where I am right now. So I put on my Etsy shop the Franklin Covey compact inserts. So I have the grid and the graph, and I also have the trackers. So there's a lot of cool trackers that I created. So we have to do, book log, wish list, and I think there's another one. No, and the yearly tracker. Yeah, so those are all on my Etsy shop. But I figured out that the Franklin Covey compact, it's a little bit wider than, let me get a personal insert that has nothing written on it. I think I'll get a blank page that I have here so we can compare. So this is the Franklin Covey compact at the bottom here, and this is the personal. And if I get the personal wide to compare even further, you will see that we have the personal over here, the Franklin Covey compact, and then personal wide. So I thought that this was the perfect size for me, and I'll explain it even further. It's because the Franklin Covey compact actually fits the personal rings planner. So when we close it, let me take the personal wide inserts that I have here just so you can see. But when we close the binder, it goes perfect to the edge, And this is what I wanted, because if you look at the personal size, there's a lot of space between the personal, yeah, I'm talking about the personal, right? The personal has a lot of space between the paper and the actual end of the binder, but the Franklin Covey compact actually goes up until the edge. I don't use tabs or dividers, and if I were to use a divider, I think I would use either a top or a bottom one. But as of now, I'm not using any dividers. What I do is, so let me show you. So if I want to get to my weekly, right, I have this little card that I got from Michael's. It came in a Alice in Wonderland little pack, and I put it here, so it's a little bit taller than the edge of the paper, so it's easy for me to just flip to the week, and it's easy for me to just take it out and in of the pages. So yeah, so it was a lot of trial and error. It was very difficult for me to actually find the perfect solution for me, because don't get me wrong, again, like I really love personal wide, and I could buy a Moterm. I think Aura Style does personal wide, I think Cloth and Paper if I'm not mistaken, so you can find inserts. I know that Franklin Covey is a little bit, I think, less popular than personal wide. That's why I started the Etsy shop with that size, because I know it's not as common as personal, and it's not as common as personal wide as well. But I really, really enjoy personal wide, but at the same time, I really did not want to get a personal wide planner cover. So I have in the mail a Filofax Malden in ochre coming in the mail. I found one secondhand off of Facebook. It was really cheap. It was $100 plus shipping, and it's in pristine conditions. So I do have a Filofax in Malden in ochre coming in the mail, and I think I am sold. I really love this personal size, and I really love how compact it is, and I can actually use personal inserts or the Franklin Covey inserts that I am making. So as you can see here, this is a personal, and this is the Franklin Covey in compact. And so this is what I'm doing. So my plan here is to have my Commonplace be in the personal size, because I don't want my Commonplace to be extremely thorough and detailed and this, blah, 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 blah. No, I want it to be just quick bites of a topic. So I started with Vincent. Vincent is essentially the first stop motion by Tim Burton when he was still at Disney, and it's my favorite. I can literally recite this poem, which is the entire stop motion, the entire story, almost 100% by heart. This is my fixation, my obsession. I am absolutely in love with Vincent, and you can find it on YouTube if you haven't watched it yet. So much so that I created this dashboard. The ink kind of like spilled a little bit because my printer has a little roller, a little thing to I don't know, to just help the paper come out. But because this is so much ink, it kind of bled a little bit, which I kind of like. It give a little bit of a goth, kind of like of a spooky vibe to an already spooky image. And the background is something that I found on Canva, and I printed on vellum paper to be just a few dashboards. And yeah, so far, I put the Coffee Monsters Co. Tiny icons here. I'm not gonna keep it here just because it's a ridiculous amount of tiny icons, and it can get quite bulky. But what I'm gonna do, I'm probably gonna find some release paper or find another way to keep my tiny icons here. They used to live in my sterling ink. Let me get it so you can see. So they used to live in the pockets of my sterling ink, but since I am trying the rings for a little while, I actually just punch them and put them here for now. So yeah, so as you can tell, it was a lot. So I started with the personal size, moved to the personal wide, and now I'm in the Franklin Covey compact size, and I think I'm gonna stick with this size for a little while. I will have to reprint the month and the week because I'm not gonna use the personal wide, and I will have to archive these pages, which is a shame because I really like how my daily pages turned out. But that's the beauty of a rings planner, is that you can just archive it, you can just play around with the sizes and play around with everything really. So this is where I am right now. I don't want to make this video way too long, but this is a week in my rings planner, and so far I think I'm sold in the Franklin Covey compact size, and I think that's what I'm gonna do. But I'm gonna keep my Commonplace entries in the personal size because I want them to be bite size. Oh, I forgot to go on with the entries. I started talking about Vincent and then I forgot to talk about the rest. So far I have an entry about Vincent from Tim Burton. I put some stickers here. I have sticker paper, so I just printed out some images of Vincent Price, who is the narrator, and the whole story is about Vincent trying to live just like Vincent Price. This is Tim Burton working on Vincent. This is Vincent as Vincent Price, and this is just the beginning of the short film. And I love it. I'm absolutely obsessed with it. And this is the complete poem. This is an entry on diuretic foods because I ate so much last week. So much sugar, so many carbs, and I'm just so bloated, and my hands are like Twinkies. They are so bloated. But I wanted to just have a quick entry about diuretic foods because I want to incorporate more diuretic foods into my week this week. And this is an entry about wings, this is such a beautiful short film. It has over 10 million views on YouTube. It was released in 2019 by Casey McDonald, and it's such a beautiful story. It's a story about a little mouse that wanted to fly, and the little mouse meets a bird, and then the story goes on. And it's such a beautiful short film. And I actually didn't, so for the Vincent entry, I put actual stickers, but for this one, I just printed the images on top of a blank grid page like that. So you can still see the grid. I don't mind. So I think I'm gonna play around with printing actual stickers or just printing on top of the page because I want this to be as easy as it can be. I don't want this to be a burden for me. So whatever I'm feeling on that day is what I'm gonna do. And yeah, so I'm probably gonna maybe keep the personal size entries that I have here, but for everything else, I know it's still a mess. My rings planner is very messy, but it's just because I'm still trying to figure it out, my system, and if I'm gonna stay in a rings system, because I'm trying this out to figure it out what I'm gonna do for 2026. So rings is something that I'm giving a chance. and seeing if it's gonna become a part of my system, a part of my lineup. Maybe it's gonna be the trackers and the journaling, and maybe not the weekly, maybe not the monthly. I don't know. I'm still giving this a try. That's why it's a little bit messy, but I understand it, and I think that's all that matters. So I have my daily entries in the beginning, then I have my commonplace entries, followed by my planning, which to most people, I think they will put the trackers and the planning in the beginning, but to me, it just makes sense to have this at the end. But again, I'm experimenting. And once I get my Filofax, I think it's coming at the end of this week, I will post how I'm gonna set it up and how I'm gonna do it, because it's gonna be, it's kind of like this color-ish, give or take. So I'm looking forward to seeing how I'm gonna set it up. And I think that's it for today. I'm really excited to keep giving the rings planner a try, and I will let you know how it goes. But don't forget to subscribe if you're not, and comment down below, do you use a bound book or do you use a rings planner? Because I see so many people using a book, using rings planner, that I honestly don't know what the majority is, but I would love to know if you use a rings planner or a book. And I think that's it. I'll catch you next week, and wish me luck with this journey. Bye bye.